When it comes to DVDs, I'm a little bit of a hoarder, whether it's TV or film. I just love filling every available space with them. And I'm a very nosy person, so I love watching DVD hauls. So I thought today I'd do my own DVD haul. I'm going to do it in 3 parts. Superhero films, the rest of the films, and then TV box sets. So get ready for part 1, superhero films. I must give you a warning though, I just noticed that all my superhero films are Marvel DVDs. I promise I like DC too, I just prefer the TV shows, I guess. First up is Marvel Heroes box set from Fox, and this is a very old box set, as you can tell from how beaten and battered it is and from how tiny, teeny tiny all the DVDs are. In this box set we have X-Men, X-Men 2, X-Men The Last Stand, Elektra, Fantastic Four and Daredevil. And shout out to Fantastic Four, the old one, not the recent one that is questionable in quality. This was one of my first superhero films that I ever watched, and also I think it was the first time I ever saw a female superhero on screen when I was younger. Oh, I'm so glad Chris Evans got another shot at being a superhero. Imagine if this is only Marvel legacy, you'd cry a bit, wouldn't you? I've also got a confession to make. I haven't seen Daredevil or Elektra yet. Why would you get them and just never watch them? Hear me out. I got the box set really cheap. I was like, hey, I'll watch them eventually, but then I was like, oh, they're really bad, and I've seen the scene where Ben Affleck just plays Matt Murdock so terribly. Like, you really are playing a blind man, right? A man with glasses. It's just very hard to go from watching Netflix Daredevil to Ben Affleck Daredevil. I'll do it eventually, I just gotta psych myself up for it, I promise. The next X-Men film I have is X-Men The First Class, which I think is possibly the best X-Men film of the next gen films, and also probably the best X-Men film altogether. I just really like how they're all still so young and innocent, just finding their way, and they're all happy for a little bit, and Charles and Eric are just like so in love before they become frenemies, old friends and whatever. If only the rest of the recent X-Men films would have been like First Class and kept up to that quality. I'm talking to you, X-Men Apocalypse. You know what you did. And next is Spider-Man 2002 with Tobey Maguire in the suit, and this was my first ever DVD and my first ever superhero film, and ever since I've had a strong obsession with Spider-Man. I used to watch this film all the time when I was younger. I just couldn't get enough of it, and I was just so obsessed with how this normal geeky kid could become this amazing superhero. He wasn't anything special, he was just an ordinary person, and I like that a lot. And I think because of the memories this holds for me, and because it was actually the film to get me into Spider-Man and therefore into superheroes in general, I think that's why I would class this as my favourite Spider-Man film and one of my favourite films of all time. I'm sorry, Tom Holland, you are my favourite Spider-Man, and Spider-Man Homecoming was great, but just this holds a special place in my heart. Then we have Spider-Man 2, which is most people's favourite Spider-Man film, although it just doesn't hold that special place in my heart, you know? Also, Mary Jane pissed me off so much. Her screaming, it's just, oh my god, I want to freaking strangle her in a nice way, obviously. And then we have the best Spider-Man film, Spider-Man 3. You know, Spider-Man 3 isn't that bad, I guess. I mean, if you're sad or bored, you could watch this and have a great laugh at emo Peter Parker. Although how this film portrays Gwen Stacy makes me so mad. They did her so dirty. You know a film's bad when it cancels the franchise, don't you? Speaking of not that good franchises, it's Amazing Spider-Man 1 with Andrew Garfield. Now, I don't particularly hate this film like I know a lot of people do. I quite like it, but the reason is I don't watch it as a Spider-Man film or a superhero film. I watch it as a romance film. Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone have just great chemistry, and I ship Spider-Man and Gwen so goddamn much. So if you watch it from that viewing point, it's a great film, and I really don't think this film would have been as good without them two and their chemistry. Also, Amazing Spider-Man has my favourite line where Dr. Connors says, "Poor Peter Parker." And I don't know why, but it's meant to be an emotional scene every time. I like cry with laughter. And now, onto the MCU. We have The Incredible Hulk. I haven't watched this film in so long, mainly because I love Mark Ruffalo more than anything as Hulk. So just watching this and not seeing Mark is like, wow, that hurts. I love how that's coming from a Spider-Man fan, and there's like 700 Spider-Men, but you know what I mean. Getting with the good stuff. Oh look, it's Iron Man 1. Little story about this DVD. It was in my house for years and years before I actually watched Iron Man or any of the MCU. It was just waiting for me to discover it, pull it out from the dust and just give it the appreciation it deserves. And I just really loved that it was Iron Man and not any of the other films. It was just like, it was waiting for me to pick Iron Man as my favourite Avenger. And this was such a great film to like properly start off the MCU. And at the end when he just says, I am Iron Man, I cry with laughter every time because he's an arrogant prick and I love him so goddamn much. Protect Tony Stark. I'm getting a bit aggressive there, calm down. Then we have Iron Man 2, which Black Widow features in. I think she's probably my favourite part of Iron Man 2, and the rest of it, you know, is, yeah. And the next MCU film I have is Thor. I'm not a big fan of Thor. This film came in a big Phase 1 box set, so I was like, hey, why not? And you know, this film isn't the worst film in the MCU. I mean, it's one of the worst films. I don't think it is the worst film. I like the supporting characters. I quite like Jane. I quite like Loki. There's funny moments. This is me really stretching to try and compliment Thor. I also really like Chris Hemsworth, so he deserves Thor Ragnarok to be great, and it actually does look really good. I'm kind of disappointed they didn't go for that funny, relatable Thor in the beginning instead of just making him like, oh, I am so stiff, look at me and my glorious hair. And then my absolute favourite film in the MCU is Captain America: The First Avenger. This film just has so many great things that I love. Not only does it have my favourite version of Steve Rogers, the young, innocent spark in his eye, just wanting to save the friggin' world and do the right thing, Captain America. Then we have Twink Bucky before he became the soldier, and he was still his own person and he was a good soul and I just love Steve more than anything. And then we have young Howard Stark, who's just a good egg, and you get to see the brightness in his eyes before his life kind of got ruined and he turned into a horrible person. And then we have the best character the MCU has ever produced, and that is Peggy friggin' Carter. I love her so much, and if you haven't seen Agent Carter and you like this film, go and watch it. Oh my god. And it's very different from the rest of the MCU. Like, the rest of the films are very much like out of this world, you know, very sci-fi, present day, or they're in space. But this is primarily underdog story and let's go beat up some Nazis. Also, look at Peggy Carter, a woman in the 40s trying to find her way, and it doesn't matter how many times I watch it, I will cry every single time at the plane scene. You know what I mean. The story of Peggy and Steve is so sad because neither of them, after they got separated, got a happy ending. On the subject of Steve being sad, it's Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This film is also one of the best films in the MCU, and I really love Cap and Natasha's friendship in this. Also, Falcon was introduced in this film and he is probably one of my favourite MCU characters. He's so funny and he deserves more friggin' screen time. But my main problem with this film is that Sharon Carter is randomly pushed into this film out of nowhere, given no character backstory, given no character development, and it's sort of, hey, look Steve, look at this pretty blonde to turn your eye, date her, ha ha ha. And that's all she is in the MCU. They don't give her any meaning. They don't show how much of a hella great character she is and how much of a strong kick-ass agent she is. All she is Peggy's niece and something to turn Steve's head. Sharon Carter deserves better. If it was up to me, I'd shove Sharon Carter in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because at least then she'd have some use and she'd actually get some character development. Don't get me wrong, I do love Captain America: Winter Soldier. I just like to rant a lot. I'm British, it's what I do. Oh look, it's the most iconic film of the MCU. It's Anyone watched Earth Mightiest Heroes? Just got a good theme tune. Probably the main reason why I watched that cartoon. Anyway, onto the film. I really like this film, obviously, because it's Avengers and it's just the payoff we deserve. And you see them all come together for the first time. It's all very emotional, and Mark Ruffalo as Hulky, which I love. And I love Bruce Banner's and Tony Stark's friendship and how Tony's like provoking him. He's like, oh my god, Hulk out. And then Bruce just finds it completely amusing. This is also the film I started shipping Tony and Steve. Don't at me. Although I'm going to complain again, because that's what I do. It upsets me just a little bit that they just spent most of the film arguing and just not being friends. And we never really got to see them all be best of buds and be a family. And the same problem with Age of Ultron as well. And because we never got to see them be properly friends apart from the very last scenes, it means that Civil War wasn't as devastating as it could have been, because it should have been this family falling apart and fighting each other and really it was just sort of like co-workers bickering. I just really hope that in Avengers Infinity War we do get an apology from each teams and they'll come together to be like a proper working team and a family, and we do get like a best of buds moment from Steve and Tony, because they're best friends and their husbands that are going to get married and none of them are going to die, okay? No one's going to die in Infinity War. It's fine. It's fine. And last but not least is Guardians of the Frickin Galaxy. This is a film that I always forget is in the MCU, and I don't mean that as a bad thing. I think that this film is just such a standalone film, such a great film, you just forget it's part of this bigger franchise. I'm very much looking forward to the Guardians meeting the Avengers. I just hope it doesn't ruin the future Guardians films and makes them all universe building films rather than standalone films like this and Vol 2. And that is all my Marvel DVDs. I hope you enjoyed this DVD collection / mini breakdown about superheroes. Let me know what you thought of these films in the comments below. Make sure to click subscribe and click there for when part 2 is out. Stay super! I hate myself. Bye!